Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be talking about everything Canicross racing. We're just approaching the Canicross race season, so stick around and this guide will go through everything that you need to know about racing with your dog. So you've got your kit, you've been running with your dog for a few weeks and you think you might like to enter a race. Well, let's talk about all the things that you need to think about. So racing is one of the most fun things you can do in the sport, but it's really important to find the best suited one for you and your dog. If you're wondering about kit and how to get started running with your dog, then maybe you might want to go back and check out this video where we did our beginner's guide to Canicross. So in terms of race distances, is everything from the 1 mile to the ultra marathon. The most popular distances are around 3 to 5k, which you'll see most events around about that distance. It's kind of a good sprint distance for the dogs, and it's a good distance for humans, no matter what level you are. The format of these races varies quite a lot. Some of them are on 1 day, some of them are on 2 days, all the way up to sometimes over 7 or 8 days, with multi-stage races. So again, finding what works for you is going to be really important. My top tip for these things is going to be to pick your distance and then just train for it. Last year, me and Dizzy did a number of distances. In the first half of the season, we ran a half marathon. We picked that distance and we trained for that. We did other races of other lengths inside that block, but we focused on the half marathon length. And then halfway through the season, after Christmas, we focused on the short 5k stuff. Canicross racing is going to be cross country or trail racing, depending on the distance you do. But most of the time we are going to be using grassy tracks, muddy tracks, forest, woodland, and occasional bits of sort of fire road or crushed stone. But the technical aspects of the race can vary wildly depending on whether it is just a Canicross race, whether there are human racing involved, whether there are anyone having to do bike jaw or scooters. Again, the courses can get less technical than then, or even if they've got rigs and lots of dogs, multi-dog teams running. Again, then the courses will get even wider and less technical. So think about the other classes that are involved in the race and what you might want out of your race. If you want something twisty, turny, technical, really fun through the woods, then you're probably looking at just a Canicross race. If you want something flat, fast and open, then some of the races with rigs are going to be quite good for that. Some of the trickiest bits of a Canicross race are before and at the start. So let's go through everything to do with start. So before you even get to the race, it's really important to have a pre-race routine. This is just going to be like any other run. It's going to be important not to feed your dog about 2 or 3 hours before the race. Usually these races start quite early, so that probably means feeding later on in the day actually, and not feeding anything before the race starts. The same goes for water as well, although you can probably water up to probably maybe an hour or so before. Make sure you get a nice pre-race walk, preferably if you can walk the course, then that would be amazing. You'll know a bit about what to expect and where the technical challenges are. Sometimes race organisers don't let you do that, but if you can get a nice walk in, then that's going to relax your dog. Let them go and do dog stuff, go to the toilet, have a sniff around, become relaxed in the environment, and just generally get away from the excitement. Once you've done that, you want to find time to just get a nice little warm-up in, even if that's just doing a short jog away from the dog while someone holds the dog, or if you do something together. Me and Dizzy quite often go together just for a gentle warm-up or so. Again, away from the race course, just to kind of get away from the excitement. Then it's time to find your place at the start. The start procedure is one of the most important factors about booking onto a Canicross race. So finding what works for you is going to be really, really important. There are many different types of start. There are individual starts, which is most people's favourite. This is where you're given an individual time slot. It's often seeded depending on your predicted race finish or how you've done the day before. You usually get 20 or 30-second gap between you and the other competitors in front and behind, and then you start on your own and you chase them down or get chased down. And it's run as a time trial, sometimes on chips, sometimes on stopwatches with a little sort of race timer subtraction to find your time afterwards. Sometimes we find those individual starts take a little bit of practice as well. Me and Dizzy work quite hard on our start procedure to make sure we can get off to a nice, clean, fast start and up the pace as quick as possible. So it can take a little bit of practice to get going, but it's worth it. The next step up from this, sometimes you will get 2 or 3 dogs going at a time in a kind of individualized start, whether they're separated out by a chute or whether it's just go. That is the next step up. Again, so a little bit more involvement with other dogs. These ones might be worth a little bit more consideration, or find out the start procedures for the reactive dogs. The next step up from that, we have the waved starts. Now, we did one of these in our race in the Fur Nations, and it was absolutely bonkers. A lot of people don't like these. It can be quite stressful for the dogs. It depends on your dog, really. Dizzy did really well at it. He smashed it, and it was actually quite fun for us because it brought proper racing tactics in. You know, you're actually running with people rather than just running a time trial. So it can be quite exciting, and if your dog does well at them, then it could be a good option and an exciting option for you to race with. And then finally, there is the full-on mass start. This is going to be 50 to 100 dogs all going together. Generally, we try and avoid these ones. They can sometimes be a little narrow. But again, if you can get away at the start nicely, or if you're quite happy to hang back and chill out and just enjoy your run, then again, it can work for you. These are often races that are either bolted onto the start of human races, or they are where dogs and humans are starting together, and often organisers don't have time to do full-on separate Canicross starts. Top tip about these races is one to watch out for. Keep an eye on the temperatures when you're racing. Canicross races will always reduce the distance and possibly even move the start times if the heat is going to be an issue for the dogs. These races that are often bolted onto the front or part of human races will not be able to do that. They will not have a short course that you can just loop around. They will not often be able to move the start time because there's 70 other humans going to come right after you. So just keep an eye on those ones if you are doing them at times of year when temperatures could be higher. I know loads of you out there are experienced racers, so let us know down in the comments your top tip for Canicross racing. So we've started, we're underway, we're out on the course. Let's talk about how to get around the course. So knowing where to go is going to be different for different Canicross races. The course markers tend to vary quite a bit depending on the race company that you're racing with. A lot will just go for the traditional arrow. This is quite popular on ones that are using private land. The course markers can't be tampered with. So yeah, sometimes you just get the good old-fashioned arrow. It's dead simple. Often if you're racing with a big Canicross racing company, such as like Canicross Midlands, when we've done those ones, where there are multiple distances on the same event, then there will be different coloured markers to follow. So making sure you know the colour of your marker is going to be really important. Otherwise you'll end up running the wrong distance. Other companies that use public land and public forests and things like that, you will often see different kind of coloured markers used so that it prevents course tampering. A really common one is a blue and red system. The blue marker meaning that you are on the right course, and a red marker showing you a turn, and the marker will often be on the side that the turn is on. A lot use pieces of tape dangled from the trees to show that you're on the right course as well. So just make sure you are nice and familiar with how to get around the course and the different markings you might see at your race. Let's talk about overtaking. Overtaking or being overtaken is something that is going to happen in a Canicross race to you. So make sure you know how to do it. The standard procedure is if you are approaching a team from behind, you must call out to that team and ask that it is okay to pass. And then you must let them know which way you are going to pass them by either shouting on your or trail, left or right. If you need to, you're going to have to pull your dog in as well But often, if you've picked a good spot and it's wide enough, and you've trained your dog well in this, then you can often blow by and everyone's happy. If you're being overtaken and you want people to be a little bit cautious around your dog, then make sure you communicate that to them. If it's narrow and you're being overtaken, you might need to stop and pull your dog in to allow another team to pass. The main thing is that your dog does not leave your lane. Just keep going nice and straight, and no one comes across anyone, and everyone has plenty of space to perform their overtaking maneuver. It lasts seconds, and if you get it right, shouldn't cause any problems. My top tip for overtaking is to get out on a group run and practice, practice, practice. Overtaking, being overtaken, get your dog comfortable with other dogs running around it. There is also always awesome race photographers taking amazing photos of you and your dog out on the race course. So make sure when you see them, you smile for the camera. Or if you see a bloke with a GoPro and a Dalmatian, make sure you also smile to us. Overtakers get edited out. So that's it, you've done it, you've started, you've overtaken everyone, you've got to the finish, you've completed your first Canicross race. What do we do next? Well, just like any run, make sure you get your dog a nice drink, whether it's water, hydration drink, any other different kinds of things. Maybe get them a small snack as a reward. And then the most important part is find out how everyone else has done on the race. The best thing about Canicross racing is the community of Canicross runners that are there. Everyone is so friendly, everyone really wants everyone else to do really well and smash their goals. Everyone is so lovely. So make sure you go out, make loads of friends and find out how everyone did. So that is it for our guide to Canicross racing. If you like the videos, then make sure you subscribe to the channel. And there's going to be loads more races coming up over this season. And then me and Dizzy will see you on the next one.